So this video is on oxidation reduction, assigning which element is oxidized, what's reduced, what is the oxidizing agent, and what is the reducing agent. So again, let's go over those terms from the previous video. Oxidation is going to be a loss of electrons. Reduction is gaining electrons. And remember, I like to use Leo-Ger to help me remember that. Lose electrons oxidized, gain electrons reduced. So then we have things called reducing agents and oxidizing agents. So a reducing agent is what does the reducing. So the element that is oxidized got oxidized because it reduced the other element. Just like your oxidizing agent is what is reduced because it oxidized the other element. Okay, so I like to pair that oxidation goes with your reducing agent. What is reduced is your oxidizing agent. Okay, so they go with each other. So let's go through our compounds. We have copper nitrate. Oxygen is -2. Altogether in our nitrate, we have to have a total charge of -1. So here we have 6 times 2 gives us 3 times 2 gives -6. That means nitrogen had to be +5. Overall negative charge here means copper has to be +1, so we get an overall charge of 0. Lithium is by itself, so it's 0. Lithium nitrate, here again, we have to look at our nitrate ion. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see this easier. So lithium nitrate, again, oxygen, there's 3 of them at -2, gives us -6, so our nitrogen is still going to be +5. Lithium here, to equal out with our -1 charge, is going to have a +1 charge, and copper by itself is going to be 0. So our things that are changing is our copper and our lithium. Copper is going from +1 to 0. Lithium is going from 0 to +1. To get from 1 to 0, we gain electrons. Remember, electrons are negatively charged, so we're getting to be more negative. When we gain electrons here, to get more positive, we're going to lose electrons. Gain electrons, reduce. Lose electrons, oxidize. Whatever is reduced is our oxidizing agent. Whatever is oxidized is our reducing agent. Okay. Let's try our next one. Sodium by itself, silver by itself. We have our silver here with our sulfate, our sodium here with our sulfate. Oxygen is always -2 times 4 gives us -8. Sulfate has an overall charge of -2, so sulfur must be +6. Same thing here. Sulfur is +6, oxygen is -2 because it's in that sulfate polyatomic ion. Sodium and silver here, because they have to equal out with that -2 charge of our sulfate, silver is going to have a charge of +1, and because there's 2 of them, overall charge of +2. Sodium here needs to also have a charge of +1 to balance out. 2 of +1 combats with the -2 charge of our sulfate. So sodium is going from 0 to +1. Silver is going from +1 to 0. Sodium becomes more positive. It's losing electrons. Silver is becoming more negative. It's gaining electrons. Lose electrons, oxidized. Gain electrons, reduced. Oxidized makes the reducing agent. Reduced is our oxidizing agent. Okay. Take a minute to try the you try problems. We have C3H8. Hydrogen is always +1. Carbon needs to balance out with this 8 positives, and there's 3 of them, so it's +2. Our oxygen is in its diatomic state, so it's also going to have a 0 charge. CO2, we have a -2 here, so carbon is going to be +4. Our H2O, hydrogen is always +1, oxygen is always -2. So things that are changing here, we have our carbon going from +2 to +4. Our oxygen is going from 0 to -2. Our hydrogen is staying the same, +1, +1. So that's neither being reduced or oxidized, so we don't worry about it. Carbon, losing electrons, oxidized, equals your reducing agent. Oxygen gains electrons, it's reduced, your oxidizing agent. Finally, your last one should have had calcium as an element, oxygen as an element. Calcium becomes +2, oxygen always -2. Calcium goes from 0 to +2. Oxygen goes from 0 to -2. Here we lost electrons, were oxidized. We gained electrons, were reduced. What is oxidized was your reducing agent. What was reduced was your oxidizing agent.